Howdy, Immortalium here, and today I want to have a discussion on Anime Ltd, which is an anime distribution company for the UK and Ireland, and actually a couple of other countries which I'll get onto in a little bit. But you might be wondering to yourself, why? Why do I want to have a discussion on Anime Ltd? Well, last week you might have noticed that I did an unboxing video for Gundam Seed Ultimate Edition, and overall I was pretty happy with it. True, there was a couple of criticisms I had of it. I thought the spine art could have been a little better. I thought that the hardcover book could have had some more kind of interesting pieces of artwork, such as concept art, such as character renditions, etc, etc. But overall, I was happy enough with it. But the day before that video went up, I was perusing Twitter and I came across a review of the Ultimate Edition from a Ross Loxley. I believe he did the review for UK Anime Network, I believe that was the website. And I read the review and he was so angry. But he did have some very interesting points to make about the quality of the collector's edition. And while I believe that he was a little overly harsh on it, it got me thinking about Anime Ltd in a way that I hadn't thought about them for a long time. A kind of a more critical eye towards their collector's editions. And so I thought, being inspired by his review, I thought I might have a little quick discussion about it. I'll include the review in the description below just so you can have a read of it yourself. I do believe he makes some very good points, even if I don't agree with all of them. So let's start off with, what is Anime Ltd? As I mentioned before, they're an anime distribution company. I believe I heard about them for the first time around 2013. Bees Entertainment, which was another anime distribution company in the UK and Ireland, had just shut down, and the leader of this company, Andrew Partridge, decided to set up another anime distribution company, this time called Anime Ltd. And they had a very lofty goal, actually a goal that I hadn't thought about in years until I read that review, where they said that they would become the Criterion of anime. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Criterion, Criterion is a distributor of Blu-rays. I believe they do some DVDs as well, but I know these days they predominantly release Blu-rays of older classic movies that have tons of extras, tons of like collectibles with them, etc, etc. They're really, really lush releases. So to say that their ambition was to become the Criterion of anime, that's a very lofty goal. And I thought I might discuss, have they met that? Like, have they become the Criterion of anime, or do they have a ways to go? Now, before I start discussing Anime Ltd, because admittedly I will be focusing more on the negatives rather than the positives, I want to start off by saying that at the moment, Anime Ltd is my favourite anime distributor in the UK and Ireland. There's a couple of reasons for that. For one, they are releasing a lot of classic anime series and movies. For instance, I was able to buy Momotaro Divine Sea Warriors from them, which is the first anime film ever made. I got Belladonna of Sadness. Of course, I'm getting their Gundam releases, and oh my god, I'm loving their Gundam releases. I was waiting for so long before they got the rights to Gundam to watch the franchise, and now they're giving me the opportunity to do that, which is fantastic. They are now also releasing some Lupin series as well. They released Lupin the Third Part 4. They've got the rights to both Lupin the Third Part 5 and to Lupin the Third the First. So I'm hoping that one day that they'll start licensing more Lupin series. Maybe the original Lupin stuff. Admittedly, I do already have Lupin Third Part 1 and Lupin Third Part 2, but I'd love for them to be able to like release it to other people in the UK and Ireland, and also to get the rights to Lupin Third Part 3, because unfortunately it's only being released on Blu-ray in America, which means that I can't import it. Another thing I love about them is their pre-order system. So Anime Ltd run their own site in order to be able to sell their anime series, and quite often when a series is going to get released, they'll put it on special offer. So you can pre-order the series for a pretty hefty discount. And because of that, I've actually picked up a lot of series from them. In fact, I've been pre-ordering as many Gundam series as I can, with the one exception being Gundam Wing, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. And to be honest, I think the pre-order bonus was one of the reasons why I wasn't as harsh on the Gundam Seed Ultimate Edition as I would have been otherwise, because I got it for a pretty substantial discount, only about £100, compared to, if you read the review, it claims that the box set is about £200. So overall, I was pretty pleased with that collection and the price point associated with it. So to start off with, I do absolutely love Anime Ltd and what they're doing in general. However, I do believe that it is worth discussing, have they reached that expectation of Criterion of anime? And I would probably argue at this point, no. Now, of all the anime distributors in the UK and Ireland, They're the closest to being the criterion of anime, but I don't think they've quite reached that point yet. And there's a couple of reasons why. Starting off with their collector's editions. Now, their collector's editions in general are pretty nice. They're quite often contained in a rigid box, which I really like. Sometimes with posters, and usually if they can get any extras at all, they will slap those extras onto the discs. But one of the more kind of interesting aspects, I should probably say, of their collector's editions is their fixation on these art cards. So we actually saw that with the Gundam Seed Ultimate Edition. In 2 of the boxes, we got art cards for them, which are basically the shape of postcards, and they have some kind of artwork associated with the series, usually a promotional artwork, but sometimes it can just be like a shot from the show itself. And to be fair, they can be quite pleasant to look at, but admittedly, I do believe it to be one of the weaker aspects of their releases, mainly because I'm not really sure what to do with them. I think I noticed on the back of some of the art cards a spot for stamps, and of course I was thinking to myself, why would you ever send this? This is a collectible piece of artwork. I don't know why you would actually use this as a postcard. In addition, they're relatively small compared to a poster, so I guess theoretically, while you could stick them up on a wall, they're very tiny, so they would actually be very hard to see on a wall, and they kind of look a bit unimpressive. And most of the time, in fact, I should probably say all of the time, I'm not really sure of any instance where I haven't done this, I typically take a glance at them and then stick them back into the box. So for the most part, they're one of the weakest parts of their releases for me. But the reason that I haven't been too critical of them in the past is because we don't know, is this an actual opportunity cost? Now, for those of you unfamiliar with economics, opportunity costs is where by doing one thing you give up another. So the easiest way to explain this is if you're buying fruit. So let's say you have an apple over here and a banana over there. You have enough money to buy one but not the other. So you buy the banana. The apple is your opportunity cost. And that's a very basic system of it, but it applies to so many businesses. Do they want to invest in this one? And that means they can't invest in something else, etc., etc. And the question with these art cards is, would these releases be cheaper if they didn't have the art cards? Would these releases have more extras of some other kind without the art cards? I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know if there would be any differences at all. So for the moment, I've just been kind of looking at the art cards as kind of a bonus, as just, you know, it's nice to get. And I don't think it impacts anything else. But I could be wrong in that. It could be entirely possible that they might be able to shell out some more money in order to get some other extras. It could be a case that they might be able to make the release cheaper if they didn't have those art cards. I don't know, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on those art cards. Do you like those art cards? Do you dislike those art cards? Do you think the releases would be cheaper or they'd have some other extras if they didn't have those art cards in them? Do you do something with your art cards? Something that maybe I haven't listed out, or maybe you do stick them up on the wall. If you do, leave me that information in the comments below. But in addition, the one other thing I wanted to discuss about Anime Limited is the fact that they're not releasing as much old anime as I would personally like. On their website, you can actually very conveniently see all of their releases by decade. And you can see that in 1940 that they have one release, which is Momotaro's Divine Sea Warriors. And to me, that makes perfect sense. There's hardly any anime that was released at the time. It was the first feature anime film. It'd be very hard to imagine them being able to find something else from 1940. But they have nothing from the 1950s. They have a couple of releases from the 1970s, and then you can see that their 1980s releases are dominated by their Gundam releases. Now, don't get me wrong, as I said before, I love Gundam, and I'm super happy that they've been releasing these 1980s series, but I would have liked to have seen them release a lot more other 1980s series. After all, I love the releases of Discotech, who have been a company that have been distributing a lot of older anime, and I just do think it's a bit of a shame that they haven't been releasing as many older anime series as I would like. Now, it is entirely possible, and in fact I would say it is highly probable, that more recent anime is more profitable for them. You will see that they've been releasing an enormous amount of content from the 2010s, and I think it would be a safe bet to say that these later anime releases in general sell more units. Keep in mind, as popular as anime has become in general, anime Blu-ray releases are still a very niche market, and the amount of Blu-ray/DVD copies that each Anime Limited title gets released is merely in the thousands, sometimes in the hundreds. And because of that, they've got to really prioritize what is going to sell. And I do think that based on the amount of releases that they've been doing, the more recent stuff have been better selling for them. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I would love to see more releases from them, particularly of older anime. But overall, it seems like Anime Limited is doing very well. Admittedly, their Screen Anime initiative seems to have been a bit of a failure, but they have readjusted that now, removing the Screen Anime part and making an Anime Unlimited subscription service, which I myself am still debating whether or not I should subscribe to that. It's still hard for me to figure out whether I would save money in the long term on it. I don't know. But they have announced that they're going to be releasing a music label worldwide to distribute the music of anime, movies, and TV series. And that's a very lofty goal and very impressive. And it says something that they're confident enough in this and in their earnings to be able to push this initiative. Not only that, but I do know that they distribute anime releases in some other countries. In fact, I've noticed that a lot of the anime releases that I pick up actually have a French subtitle or French dub on them, and that's because Anime Limited also release anime series in France, which is quite fascinating to me. So in general, it seems like Anime Limited is doing pretty well. They're comfortable enough about expanding, so they must have at least a surplus of money in order to be able to invest in further ventures. And as I said before, of the anime companies in the UK and Ireland, at the moment, Anime Limited are my favourite. But whether they've reached that lofty ambition of being Criterion of anime, I personally don't think so, but you guys are free to disagree with me. And you guys can tell me whether you agree with me on that, or if you disagree with me, if you think they have in fact become the Criterion of anime. And let me know in general your thoughts on Anime Limited, on their pre-order releases, which I absolutely love. They're kind of focusing more on newer series, which I think probably makes sense from a financial perspective, but from a personal perspective, I would like to see them release more older anime series. Let me know your thoughts on their venture to release music worldwide, because I think that's quite a fascinating thing. Let me know if you are a subscriber to them for their Anime Unlimited move, and let me know if you think that that's actually a good investment or not. And in general, just give me your thoughts on Anime Unlimited in general. I would love to hear them in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, please check out my Amazon affiliates, both in the UK and in America, and buy through that. That will support the channel, it will support me, and also you'll be supporting either the anime or manga industry depending on which one you buy. So please do use those if you wish to support the channel. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye bye.